Going on, Jerome's. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We're one more day closer. One more day? Oh, one day closer to the Minnesota Vikings home opener Sunday. Historic U.S. Bank Stadium against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be a good time, man. And the Vikings on Tuesday afternoon released their first unofficial depth chart of the regular season. Now, team depth charts are weird because, number one, they're required by the league to release one. Number two, they usually don't sync up with reality. Well, sometimes they do, but sometimes, especially in at the positions where it isn't set. Like, yeah, there's one quarterback, there's 5 offensive linemen, but if you look at edge rushers or cornerbacks or receivers or running back or whatever position is rotated in quite a bit, it doesn't really hold up, right? And some teams' depth charts are just put together by a PR intern and just like, that looks good, send to the league, put on the website, all that stuff. Some are legit, right? And I wouldn't glean too much off of depth charts, but it is always interesting. It really is. So diving on in, Vikings quarterbacks Kirk, Mullins, and Jaron Hall. Oh, by the way, should be known that they don't include practice squad players, and there will be multiple practice squad elevations throughout the season, 2 per week, and each player gets 4 per season before they have to be added to the 53 or are subjected to waivers. And also, man, the depth chart looks empty compared to preseason, doesn't it? Yeah. But first up, Kirkua, Mullins, Jaron Hall, yes. Alexander Madison, Ty Chandler, and Myles Gaskin are your running backs win play show. Yes, that does make sense. Madison's going to be that lead dog. I do think that Chandler's going to get more work than people expect. Although, Gaskin is a very solid addition. I do think that Chandler will be the clear running back too. CJ Ham is the fullback. Then your 2 starting wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne. I like that it's just 2 receivers. 2 receivers, 1 tight end, running back, and a fullback. Like we're on the pro set from the 1980s, man. It's good times. But Addison and Naylor are listed as your backup wide receivers, and Brandon Powell is on the 3rd team. Hockenson, Josh Oliver, Johnny Munt, Nick Muse. Oh, by the way, this is a crib from the official website. There you go. So everything is according to Hoyle there. Although I think that you will see Josh Oliver is basically a starter, where the Vikings are going to run a ton of 12 personnel. I could see Oliver getting 500, 600 snaps this season, something ridiculous. Offensive line, that's what you expect. Darisaw, Ezra, Bradbury, Ed Ingram, and Brian O'Neill. And on the official depth chart, they do list specific backups. So Quisenberry is going to be backing up Darisaw, Schlutman for Bradbury, Brando for Ed Ingram, and Oli Udoh for Brian O'Neill. Now, these obviously aren't binding, and it could be a spot, again, well, not going to put that evil on anyone, Ricky Bobby, but say player X is listed as a backup for player Y, and if player Y gets hurt, all of a sudden player Z comes in, people aren't going to be like, hey, now, your unofficial depth chart said this. No, it ain't going to happen like that, man. Defensively, so your 2 starting defensive ends in the 3-4, Jonathan Bullard and Dean Lowry. Harrison Phillips listed as a starting nose tackle, but I think what you're going to see is a lot of Phillips either playing 3-tech, 4-tech, 5-tech, as well as Kyrus Tonga, who Kyrus Tonga, I think, is going to be the straw that stirs the drink. He's going to get a lot of work on early downs. I think that he will be your de facto starting nose tackle. Jaquelin Roy listed as a backup defensive end. Edge rushers, outside linebackers, you got Daniil and Davenport listed as your starters. Wanham and Patrick Jones as your second team. And Andre Carter, hey, Mr. Carter, the UDFA on the 3rd team. Off-ball linebacker. So, again, this is where it gets interesting. So, Osama and Hicks are listed as the starter. Troy Dye is listed as the 3rd linebacker, and Ivan Pace Jr. is the 4th. Wink, 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 wink. Sure. Where I actually do think that even though Osama and Hicks could be starting, I think that Pace is going to get his. I think that he will be in a handful of plays, handful of packages on defense, if not basically an outright starter. Right, and also they only list 2 starting cornerbacks, so they don't even account a nickel slot cornerback. So even though sub package is base defense nowadays, but Evans and Murphy, and then you got Booth listed ahead of Blackman and Najee Thompson. Now, I do think that this is a position where there's going to be a lot of practice squad elevations. I do think that Joanne Williams, given his length, I think that him being a week 1 practice squad elevation to the game day rooster to help combat Mike Evans' size and length on the outside makes all the sense in the world. So we'll see. Again, unofficial. Safety-wise, Beasley, Harrison Smith. Lewisine is actually listed ahead of Josh Metellus, which I don't see that. Metellus is basically going to be a starter this year, so pay this no mind. Theo Jackson, Jay Ward. Now, where it actually does matter is returner. So Generally, teams sync up with this when it comes to returners, and it's very important for the Vikings this year since they're going to be without their two starting returners from last year. King Kene is on injured reserve, and Jalen Reagor is no longer part of the team, currently on the Patriots practice squad. So Ty Chandler listed as your starting kick returner. Now, return kicks in college, also had a really nice kick return in preseason 2 years ago. That makes all the sense in the world. And then Brandon Powell, who has a ton of kick and punt return experience, listed as the backup as a kick returner and the starting punt returner, which also makes sense. So there you go. That is the Vikings' unofficial regular season depth chart. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol. I don't know what that was. Production value.